Welcome back. What we've got going on right now is a revision activity. Check out this prompt on the left where the arrow's at. Prompt. An exploded moment is when the author decides to provide sensory and interior detail. Analyze one exploded moment in any chapter of The Midwife's Apprentice or The Talk. Write an essay using the text to support your answer. Then you had a choice of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 titles that could go along with it. So let's take a moment, and I would like you, as a class, you're going to pause it, and your teacher will lead you in a choral reading, right, with reading the orange parts together. So take the time to do a choral reading of this definition now. Nice work, right? A quick emphasis for everybody with a working computer. Turn on the highlighter, turn on the blue, and please circle this time, slowing your brain down to look at a closer detail, right? To give you more sensory detail or inside the writer's head detail or the character's head. Now, we're going to look at a quick clip from a Spiderman film. And in the Spiderman film, there's all this quick action going on, but then there are these moments where they slow down, where they explode these moments. See if you can keep track of all the exploded moments in the link below. Ooh, yeah, nice work, everybody. Now, let's go ahead and try it a few times on our own. So annotate this exploded moment on this page. Take a moment, and this is from the Christmas Carol, and Scrooge here is thinking about his life, and he finishes talking with a spirit, and then bing bong, he hears the clock chiming, and then all of a sudden, and all that wreathed in purple smoke, holding a scythe, is the ghost of Christmas future. Take a moment and let's highlight some of the parts that are drawing your detail. First of all, that purple smoke right down here, here, and here. And as a contrast with the more vivid purple of the cloth, here, here, here is Hood, right? His shoulders definitely have, right? Those little skeleton fingers. Oh my goodness, look at those. Whoa, right? So take a moment and annotate the page and take apart that little moment that's exploded for you in this comic book version. Go ahead and make your screen look like mine a little bit. All right. Now, let's try it again. It looks like something has happened. What am I doing in a pile of ketchup? And you can start to see that his field of vision is getting smaller. Didn't I clean that up? Why is the puddle getting bigger? But it isn't ketchup. Chet. The fog grows thicker. Boom, all black. Where's the exploded moment here? Well, you can make an argument for almost all of these, but I would have to say there's two. One, I'm going to, as the zoom in on the puddles of blood, and the other one here I'm going to make blue is the complete frame dedicated to only blackness, right? Those two really slow it down and allow you to go, ooh, that's what it's like to pass out from blood loss, right? Let's try another one. But first, make your screen look like mine. All right. Ooh, the shark is close to the surface. It keeps looking. Black eyes, almost glowing. I think something like the stop in horror or in the motor. I hear a motor in the distance. Whir, right? So what moment seems exploded here? Take a moment and highlight the thing that really pops out, that really kind of slows down the action a little bit and gives you a sense of detail. Oh, I bet you chose the same one I did. That eye, that glowing eye. You have the text and you have the imagery to go with it. Nice job. Now, this is a story we've read a few times now, right? What parts seem especially slowed down to you? Take a moment and look at this tableau. If you don't have a working computer, you should take a moment to look at the screen and figure out, okay, I see some parts that pop out for me as exploded moments. Take the time to highlight those now. All right. For me, I think this is an especially exploded moment. The talk itself is an exploded moment, and the family hug there is a very exploded moment. Just look at the attention to detail the illustrator gives those moments. Right? Going in with a little more specificity. We get specific names from the grandfather here, right? But we also get each kid visualizing the grandfather's stories in their own actions, right? There he is. There she is. There he is. Right? Each matches one. Take a moment to make your screen look like mine. All right. Now let's try it with text, which is what will be on the test, right? We've done imagery, we've done a movie. Now let's try from the book that we're reading. Here's a little bit from The Midwife's Apprentice. Take a moment and read it as a class using the orange underlined parts. Go ahead and do that now. All right. So some of the parts that are underlined are also the parts that we can highlight now to point out that they're exploded moments, right? Let's take a moment. Washed up on a carved in the shapes of hooves of some unknown beast. No one could figure out what they were, where they'd come from, so eventually anybody had them cooking in her fire. Enjoyed a hot rabbit stew, senses, on a cool autumn night. Right? The cool autumn night, that last little part definitely makes you think both of food, so taste, makes you think of heat versus cold, right? So with touch, so we have two senses activated. So I'm going to write a number 2 down there because I've got both senses, right? And what's that called? Oh, you know it. It's called, and go ahead, you can write this right next to cool autumn night, imagery. Boom. Please make your screen look like mine. Go. So now we're going to get into what some of you wrote about imagery in both the talk and what some of you wrote about in imagery in The Midwife's Apprentice. Let's take a look together real quick. You can just put your initials on this page. I'm going to put mine now. Oh, come on, you thing. Mr. Surface. Boom. All right. So an exploded moment is when the author decides to provide sensory and interior detail, analyze one exploded moment in the chapter The Midwife's Apprentice, the talk, and write an essay. All right. So in The Midwife's Apprentice, momentarily slowing them down. So all right. For example, when she helped deliver twin calves, or when she was talking about the dung heap, right? So already I like the thesis. It has 2 reasons, right? There's reason 1, the dung heap, and example 2 was the birth of the 2 calves. So I like that for sure. Could it be phrased a little more clearly? For sure. All right. When she gave birth to the calves, well, there is something that's missing here, right? And it's something called a topic sentence. So let's highlight this word body paragraph. Every body paragraph should begin with a topic sentence. If you start out when she gave birth, that's starting out with something called context. Please label this context here. Context is giving background to the story, which is important and leads up to your quote, but it's a topic sentence. It is not. So without a topic sentence, we have an organizational problem. And that problem is that the reader doesn't quite know what is being driven at in this body paragraph. So when she gave birth to the calves, she exploded the moment. I love that. By going into detail of how that word there and sticky they were. Okay. So we get a combination of context and a topic sentence. So I take back what I said. So it's a topic sentence sort of combined with context, which means that we might want to write a little bit more. Another way to say that is develop it, right? So develop a full topic sentence, then context, and then the quote. Okay. Let me shrink those words a little bit. Okay. And I like how they have the detailed words there. Shiny they were and sticky to touch. There's our quote, absolutely on point. Let's go ahead and highlight that quote green. And then this explodes the moment. I usually like a this noun verb. So you can put a little dot between this explodes. I'm going to put a little letter N there, or try to put a letter N. This noun explodes. So you say this moment explodes because it shows how the author exaggerates details. Well, as someone who's participated in a few births, I can say it's not necessarily exaggerated, but we do get some sensory details. So maybe not exaggerate is the word they specifically want, but for a first draft, I think it gets us pretty darn close. I thought this was an excellent beginning. The thinking is definitely there. The organization leaves a little bit to be desired, but it's still the beginning of the year. I like how they have the words detail circled and exploded circled, right? It shows me that they're answering the prompt. Please take a moment to make your slide look like mine. Ooh, okay. We'll do one more together. All right. The rest, I'm going to let you guys kind of rock with your own. So let's take a look at this one here. Going fast, going slow. Great title, and they indent right away. The author of the talk reinforces the central idea of celebrating back family and culture in spite of society when she repeats comparisons of joy. This seems like an old essay, so we're just going to actually cross this out. So you can make that all black. That's an old one. Bye. Let's try again. So entertaining details. This has to do with the talk. Let's see what we're working with here. So there's no topic sentence, right? It says the story of the talk has a big meaning behind the entire story. I think that's true. However, that's not what this is asking. This is asking about an exploded moment, right? So you can be true and say things that are true and write things that are true, and they can be completely beside the point. So you don't want to fall into that trap in the future. So the kid grows up thinking it's their fault that they're the color they are, while we see Jay grow up and while he's growing and we see his parents talk about how he needs to be careful when he wears what he does. He didn't yet know what he had to do when other color-skinned kids don't, but he always wanted to hang out with his friends, but his grandpa always told him that his group looked like the next troublemakers. There's our quote right there. So I'm going to highlight that. Now, I don't know if he always said it. I'm a little worried about that word "always." I'm going to cross that one out. But he did bring it up. He's always telling them good stories. You might want to say instead and say, but now that he's getting older, they'll think that he's a troublemaker with his friends. In the text it says, but rather instead of telling us a story, Grandpa does something strange. All right, so this right here is what's called context. Right, I labeled it as such over here when I graded it initially. A few things to remember for organization. Use periods, right? There's a period right here. It has entertaining details. I like that because it points back to our prompt. But it doesn't get into what's entertaining. It doesn't get into the details per se. It doesn't go past the quote. So we still need those three explanatory sentences. So you can highlight that over there. There's no thesis there, so it would definitely be worth taking the time to write a thesis, to skip a line, and to have a topic sentence. Without the topic sentence, it's less clear to me what's going on. Using random phrases like big meaning definitely confused me as a reader. So what I think we can do is we can do some edits on this and make it a little more to the prompt. So let's get rid of has big meaning behind the story. The story also has entertaining details. Well, let's do that. The story has entertaining details. That's a better topic sentence right there. So now I kind of know that this is about entertaining details, which is closer to an exploded moment, but not exactly what we're looking for here. I do like that they had the word details. I'm going to circle that with a highlighter for them, but I thought they could definitely do a little bit more with it. Please take a moment to make your screen look like mine. All right. Your job for slides 14 through 19 are to grade what you read. So you'll read this. Does it have anything to do? Does it show that there's 5 paragraphs? Do they have a topic, sentence, context, quote, and explanations? I'd like you to just take the little highlighter here, read each paragraph as you go along, and I'd like you to highlight it, right? For instance, it looks like they're circling stuff over here that I love. Is it the sort of stuff that has to do with exploded moments? That's less clear, right? So maybe you want to give them a full point for exploded moments, maybe just like 10 out of 25 instead of the full 25 out of 25. They've got quotes. Do the quotes match up with what the prompt is asking? If so, maybe a 20 or a 25, right? And then do you see 5 paragraphs here? Not really, but I see one. So maybe if it were just this, it would be a 10, right? And you'll go along and see that some parts are clearer than others, right? So I'd like you to grade the rest of those essays. When you're done, please let your teacher know that you are done. Have a good one.